Is that right?
Navy versus Coast Guard Q&A, the first ever. So we're gonna hop right into this Q&A. You guys left a bunch of awesome questions for us.
Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee, baby. Ooh-wee, baby.
Over the last couple videos. And you know, we're gonna answer as many as we can.
Yep.
The best as we can.
Yep.
And we're gonna freaking nail this.
Yeah.
Papa's here.
Right?
Papa. Papa. Before this video starts, CGC, he's gonna have his YouTube channel up and running by the time this video is posted. So I'm gonna leave a link to Coast Guard Chris, the very first Coast Guard YouTube channel. You guys show some love, start subscribing. He's gonna have content pretty soon on it. So just start subscribing to the channel, and he's gonna eventually be pumping out content.
Yeah, Justin's gonna help me.
I'm gonna help him set up the channel.
I sent a few videos of me while I was in the Coast Guard, just so you guys can see, like.
Yeah, we're gonna show some of the videos that he did in this Q&A, so you'll start getting a taste of what his channel's gonna be like. But we're really stoked to get this channel.
I know, I'm
for
super
you.
excited, man.
Get you some subs. You're gonna get 1,000 easy.
I hope so.
All right, guys. Very first question of Navy vs. Coast Guard Q&A. This is YouTube history here. So Scott Chappie, congrats, man. Between JT and Coast Guard Chris, who did more traveling and experienced more between the two branches?
Okay.
So.
We both did 5 years, right?
We both did 5 years. Do you just want to say the ports you hit?
Sure. Okay,
no pressure.
Polynesian areas, so
Polynesians.
Kauai, probably a lot of places you haven't heard of.
Yeah.
Palau, Marshall Islands, American Samoa, Western Samoa, Tonga, what's the other one? Guam, all of Hawaii, obviously.
Yeah.
El Salvador, Panama, Costa Rica, Alaska, Kodiak,
yeah,
and Dutch Harbor in Alaska, Japan. We did the Japan patrol, so
I think he's got me beat.
The bases in
Japan, Okinawa, Yokosuka.
Yokosuka. That's okay. I think that's
Is that
the
it?
most. Yeah.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah.
We also have Josh over here in the graph. So if you hear any input, I'll put up your face and I'll pop it in the side.
Over here.
But all right, now for my ports that I hit for the Navy, so that was all Coast Guard that he hit. For the Navy, I hit Thailand. I hit Dubai. I hit Bahrain. I hit Turkey. I went through the Suez Canal in between Saudi Arabia and Egypt. I went through the Straits of Gibraltar in between Morocco and Spain.
That's cool.
I did a whole world tour. So we started off in San Diego, went all the way across the whole world, and ended up in the East Coast on Florida.
Cool.
And then on my second deployment, I hit Japan, or I lived in Japan. And then I hit Korea, South Korea, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, Australia, Philippines.
I mean, those are pretty cool.
Woo! Yeah. So we all hit a bunch of cool ports, man.
San Diego count?
San Diego, oh yeah, San Diego's a duty station.
Cool, yeah.
Sounds like you guys are pretty comparable as far as numbers, but different
areas.
Yeah.
You got to hit more of like the islands, because think, you know, you were on a small, what was your boat you were on?
It was a 378 feet long.
So what is it called, like a cutter?
A cutter, yeah.
It's a cutter?
Yeah. And it was about...
And my knowledge is still here.
180 to 200 crew members.
200 crew members? Alright, so you can imagine with his smaller ship, you're allowed to get into all these different smaller kind of ports and islands. With the carrier, we had 5,000 people compared to your 300. So like for example, in Hong Kong, China, we had to anchor out of the port and take a 20-minute ferry into the city, into Hong Kong. But yeah, it definitely depends on the ports, you know. If you're in the Navy though, on a smaller boat, you could potentially hit ports like that.
Yeah.
But in the, you know, depending carrier versus cutter, you know, you can kind of see where you're gonna hit. All right, second question from Expired Hot Dogs.
I like that name.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
He said, ask JT, out of both branches, which one has the most females?
All right, so obviously the Navy is a bigger entity than the Coast Guard.
A lot of people don't know. The Coast Guard's part of Homeland
Security.
Security. They're not even part of the DoD.
Yep.
So females-wise, yeah, Navy's gonna have a majority, a plethora of females, just because we're a bigger branch. But I think quality over quantity, I don't know.
So just talking to other people in the branches, and we had a lot of guys that were in the other branches that crossed over.
I don't know the kind of women that would join the Coast Guard. Smart women?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes Air Force, and I've heard the Coast Guard is the next best thing. And I mean, there was a lot of beautiful women in the Coast Guard.
Yeah. I think we can all agree though, Air Force is up number one
Oh,
for,
number
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
for females.
It would be a Marine's dream to be on an airplane.
Yeah.
Marine's dream, yeah. We know what Josh's dream is.
Yeah.
Like Air Force
Never
Base.
happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say Coast Guard probably for females attractiveness wise. But if you're looking at if you're gonna experience more types of females, Navy. I think now on our Navy ships, it's more 50-50, male-female. You know, especially now the past couple of years, we're being more PC. We're getting females on submarines. We're getting females in combat, potentially in higher leadership positions.
Mm-hmm.
So
For our ship, about 180 people. I'd say about anywhere from 50 to 60 were female,
okay.
give or take.
So a decent majority. All right, next question from MM33. Is Popeye the Sailor, Coast Guard, or Navy?
That is actually
Popeye-
a big debatable
He's
thing.
Navy.
Really?
That a lot
Popeye
of
the
my
Sailor?
friends
Anchor, though.
have looked into. Actually, if you
Popeye's my branch.
do your Google research,
He wore the white hat.
no, but if you do the original
Right?
image,
Of Popeye?
there's no way to confirm it as far as I know, because my friends have actually researched into this. But if you look at the original image of Popeye,
metastasize into
it's
this.
the Coast Guard uniform.
Really?
The original image of Popeye, because he has the blue shirt with the red
Yeah.
jeans. Because there is the Popeye version with the whole navy.
Yeah.
But if you look up the original image,
So I guess the debate is still ongoing.
If the Coast Guard had Popeye, we know for a fact Donald Duck was Navy.
Donald Duck.
So, I mean,
Donald Duck's navy. Oh, but
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, we'll take Donald Duck. You
Uncle
can get
Donald.
Popeye.
Let's
Yeah.
take that.
That's
All right.
fair.
All right, this is a good one. Next question for you. Q&A. How often does the Coast Guard and Navy conduct small boat operations? Now, you told me that you did small
Yeah.
boat operations. 'Cause
So
you were. I think we're gonna get into further questions like what your job was
Yeah, so-
officially, but
I don't know. I mean, OPSEC. I mean, I've been out for a while, so I'm sure. I can
operational security. Yeah, as veterans now, I think we're able to talk a little bit more about stuff that would be considered OPSEC. But
So for the JTsuits patrols, which were the Central America ones, that was the drug interdiction.
Okay.
We actually worked with the Navy, so we kind of had like a
oh, you worked with us?
grid
Oh,
set up
nice.
to just find drug smugglers, and we would help each other out.
Okay. So that was your small boat. You guys would get your little a rig or a little.
Yeah,
small
so we had two like 25-foot boats attached to our big cutter.
that you would drop off
Yeah, so like I was a part of the team that would go investigate and like
and hop and on
hop
board.
on and then like secure everybody and
Woo!
like
And we actually have a clip of you shooting, of you training.
yeah, we just
I'll put in
we were shooting. You know, we had all kinds of weapons.
Was that M16?
It was a type of shotgun, but it had all kinds of.
Different mods on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll show that. I'll show that of Chris
Yeah, there
being a
was no
badass.
on that
Yeah,
automatic right?
yeah.
Or semi.
Yeah.
Sick. Now for Navy small boat operations, me being on a carrier, the only thing I really noticed was when we would have like general quarters or man overboard drills, we would have to drop the what do you call those small boats? The ribs, MIGs?
Little boats?
Ribs.
Ribs? Yeah, we would have to drop our small boats off of the carrier for search and rescue type stuff. Or so when we would do drills, you know, on the carrier out at sea, those people, like I think they were boatswain's mates, a lot of BMs or OSs that would be the small boat operations.
Yeah.
They would go and do their drills.
Yeah, we went out with. I was actually the only ET on my team. Most of them were made up of mostly BMs. A lot of MKs.
Oh, so
engineering
the
guys.
rates that were for you,
Yeah.
for Coast Guard were BMs.
BMs.
You were an ET.
I was ET for electronic technician. There were BMs for bosun's mates.
So is that something you volunteered for?
Yeah, you
as
have
an
to
ET?
volunteer and then you have to go through training.
Training.
So I went to South Carolina, Charleston, did some extensive training for the law enforcement part. I also did on-the-job training, and then you have to qualify for your gun shooting. Like if you can't
Right.
qualify on the range, you're not gonna be able to
Right.
go.
You can't board a
Not very
boat if you
helpful.
can't. Yeah.
So that was the
That's
biggest
heavy
thing. But yeah, anyone on our ship could have volunteered.
That's awesome. See, so that you can see Coast Guard being a smaller branch, you have more opportunities
Yeah.
to volunteer, but it is definitely a harder branch to get into.
Yeah.
The
They're more
Coast Guard.
selective. There's
Very
more
selective.
New York City police officers than people in the Coast Guard.
Wow.
And so they can be more selective. Although, but you know, they could be a little bit more selective because I work with some people that I'm
They
like,
took you.
yeah, I was like,
Ah.
I was like, how the fuck did you get in the Coast Guard?
Right. All right. Next question from ABC Music Videos. Which of the two branches has more comfortable daily life while at sea?
That's a good one.
What more comfortable daily life while at sea? So while we're deployed, I was working on the flight deck. I was working anywhere from 12 hours on the flight deck every day to sometimes 14, 15. So I think it depends on our job, you know, just the lifestyle that you're gonna have on the ship. You being an ET, you're more in the ship kind of work, right?
Yeah.
Inside the confinement of the ship.
So we got a lot of flack from people that had to stay in regular watches. But what they didn't understand for ETs, if you were duty ET, you were on call 24/7. Because if something breaks, radar, radio.
So you were an electronics technician, so you dealt with all the radars, radios.
Yeah, radios. We'd even, if the captain's TV was messed up, we'd mess with that.
Xbox wasn't
Captain's
working.
TV, Captain's like, my Xbox is broke. I got the rings of death. Come fix it, bro.
So when I was duty ET, just like that week, because we usually do week spans, I was just stressed, man. I couldn't go to sleep well because like, you know, you don't know if you're gonna be woken up in the middle of the night, and sometimes it could be easy fix. Other times it could be like, gotta bust out manuals and shit. And it's like 3 in the morning.
Do you have that? You have that video of you? He has some pretty funny videos. You guys gotta subscribe to his channel. He's gonna have some funny sea stories, man. But so you can see, daily life, it's gonna differ. You know, he being ET Coast Guard, me being an aviation mechanic Navy. We all have our own different kind of stresses. You know, his is more, you know, mental, you know, like you're in the confines of the ship and you have all these different duties. You can be on call anytime. And then me, I'm just the weather, you know, you're just at the conditions of the flight deck, pretty much.
We talked about the swim call. So we would have fish call, or if it was a slow day, we'd go fishing and people would catch marlin and stuff, and we'd barbecue in the back.
That's crazy. Coast Guard, you just get fish call.
Yeah, and then we'd have swim call, but you guys have swim call too. But we were like, swim call would last for hours.
Yeah.
You just jump in, we could swim, climb back on the boat, and jump in again.
So what is it? That's
his swim
just
call.
where you get time off to.
Yeah, it's basically
out.
like it's usually when it's towards the end of the patrol or something.
When it's stuff's slowing down.
Yeah. We'll just anchor somewhere out in the middle of nowhere.
Swim.
And jump and go swim, man.
That's awesome.
Completely opposite of us. If we had extra time, it was like, what pointless shit
Can
we
we
have all these do for the next 4 hours?
Yeah. See, that's cool though, because your swim call, you got to have so much freedom.
Yeah.
For the aircraft carrier swim call, it was a huge ordeal. You know, for 5,000 sailors potentially to swim, and you was 200 only. So we all had to jump off the aircraft elevator, 30-foot drop, and swim all the way back to the carrier, to the fantail, and climb up a net. And I only got to do swim call one time.
How long?
It was maybe, I got to swim for like 20 minutes, 15 minutes in the ocean, and it was in the Arabian Sea, which was pretty cool.
Was it warm?
It was, it was salty, warm. Where was your swim call? And you did a bunch probably.
Yeah,
huh?
like Pacific,
Ocean,
down in off Central, America.
Yeah,
it was kind of scary though. I kept thinking of sharks.
Oh yeah,
man, it's just blue.
But and you look under you, and it's just all blue under.
And you could just, I always pictured
like a big mouth.
Yeah.
Did you guys have rescue swimmers in the water, like protecting you guys?
So first swim call, we had to have the rescue swimmers ready to go.
Yeah.
They get all suited up.
Yeah.
And then we'd have the small boats also in there, and they'd carry shotguns for in case.
Oh, nice.
It was a shark.
Hell yeah.
I wonder how far do shotguns travel underwater?
You imagine a shotgun would probably mess up a shark.
And not to mention they have to shoot, and if you're like being attacked,
it's a shotgun.
Yeah, for the Navy, we had rescue swimmers in the water as well. We had our rib deployed, so it's similar. But yeah, we just don't have as much freedom as the Coast Guard, just because our crew's so big. Papa! Papa! I don't want you up here.
Last night took a L, but tonight I bounce back. Wake up every morning, by the night I count stacks. Knew that ass was real when I hit it, bounce back.